what I care about is you guys doing well, which is why I spend so much time thinking about how to make your lives better. So if you haven't already done it, download the free self-help books that I made, Fix the World and Sci-Vive. They're at t.me/Sci-Vive. There's a very nice lady named A Wild SJ who's actually read the audiobook on YouTube, and you could just listen to her read the whole book to you. How awesome is that? You know, her and some other people also did a rendition of the oral arguments at the motion to dismiss trial with the SEC. I think it's cool that we've got a community member that cares so much that out of the kindness of her heart, she's reading things to you. That's very nice. You know, some people have drives. They don't have the time to read. They've got hard lives that they have to work. One, shout out to A Wild SJ. Thanks for reading all those cool things.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure. Hopefully you can hear me. If you couldn't hear me, now you can hear me, perhaps. So welcome back to Woman Crush Wednesday. Welcome to A Wild SJ show. My channel, things I enjoy doing here in the PulseChain sphere, which include touching my hair a lot. That's all. I think it was Papa B mentioned that once, that we should create a drinking game based on how many times I touch my hair in a stream. So you're welcome. Drink. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Sci-Vive says it's a bad idea. So it's been a while since I have had the energy and the bandwidth to focus on my own content. And now is the time, ladies and gentlemen. I am really just excited that of all the things that I've done and focused on, obviously Sci-Vive being one of them. And most, I think, other than this show, most of my content has been Sci-Vive based. And of course, I still love it, still promote it, as you can see from my new intro video. That's just like what would you call that? A rough draft. I'm going to keep the audio as is, most likely. I will be actually creating a video so that it's an intro video, not just some sounds. So if you're here, you might know who I am. If you don't know who I am, get to know me. I'm an open book. I talk pretty openly about my life, the things that I do, the things that I'm involved in. PulseChain Tour being one of them. And I'm coming off the high of that experience. We had Pulse 369 in Las Vegas, the March 6th through the 9th. And we're doing it again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to just already put that out there. March 6th through 9th, 2026. It's happening. So mark it on your calendars. Know that that's something that's going to be an event to look forward to. And if you want to know a little bit more, or you want to kind of see some of the content that we put out from that event that just happened in March, you can go to youtube.com/PulseChain Tour Live. It's at PulseChain Tour Live. YouTube, for some whatever reason, you have to do /@ and then the name. So at PulseChain Tour Live. I will put it in the comments and or in the description below if I have not already. And yeah, this is a show that I started. It was one of the first things that I started to do after being in the community for a little while, because as a woman in the community, I feel that it's important to promote, uplift, and welcome other women in the community. And I have a list of women now that I would love to have on this show. And, you know, there's just so many out there. And so I hope none of y'all are offended or anything that, you know, I chose this guest first. A big reason behind that was the most ridiculous things that were said to her versus being welcome into the community. And some people did and some people didn't. And so I was just like, you know what? I would like to, as someone who has this kind of content, I would like to uplift this woman. Say hello, ladies and gentlemen, to Latina Liberty. There she is.
Hi.
Hey, look at you. Look at your great. Your sound is great.
Yay.
Doing it. Doing it. Awesome. So I've decided not to change the format of this show yet. partly because I'm just getting back into it, right? I want to kind of see how the old questions and format flows. And then partly because I really just wanted to jump in and get it done, right? That's another thing that I've found to be kind of an encouragement piece. If you go back, I think I mentioned this to you. If you go back and look at one of the first episodes, is Georgia Carrera, and we start out, doing this stream together, and she lost her power.
Oh
And,
no.
yeah, and it's just like we want to show up and do what we can with what we've got. And if you keep showing up and you keep putting out content, and this is something that, whether or not you've been invited onto streams, whether or not you personally want to stream, that's maybe something we'll get into later. But it's just an encouragement I like to make that we all have to start somewhere. And
Yeah.
look, already your lighting looks already better than the first time you showed up on camera, And I only critique because I love helping people improve. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, if I have any kind of advice, I'm gonna give it. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the advice. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so the audience knows, this is not usually a stream where I talk to the chat. A lot of times if I'm on my own, I'll bring chats up, we'll have some discussions, but this show in particular is to focus on the guest and to get to know who she is, what she's about, where she came from, and all that jazz. So I'm just going to jump right into it, and we're going to go over some questions here. So the first question is, how did you find either Richard Hart or HEX? How did you find this community? How did you find your way here? Or how did you get into crypto and then make your way to where we are now?
Yeah. Well, I found out about Richard Hart and his projects through my husband. So he found, he's been following Richard Hart's projects for about 5 years now.
Nice.
And he discovered the last crypto cycle when it was 10,000x, I think is when he got in. And it was just the last few months of it. And then, the bear market hit. And so we've been waiting for this next bull cycle for the past 4 years. And that's how I learned about it, through my husband.
Okay. So yeah, very aside from the husband part, the story about waiting 4 years. I'm right there with you. I got in around near almost exactly 4 years ago. And so I bought while we were going up to the top, and I didn't know that. I didn't know there were cycles. I didn't understand much of anything except that as I listened more and understood more, I kept thinking, man, if I'm going to put my money anywhere, this seems like the right place to do it, And so I was watching all the euphoria happen, and everyone just, it was, again, unbeknownst to me that's how cycles went, right? It was
right.
Up, and everyone was just ecstatic about it all.
Right.
So we're in it to win it.
Exactly.
It's gonna pay off. I know it.
Yes, I know it too. It's
Yeah, and see, and that's why we're here and we're smiling, because it's really all you can do,
I know.
Just keep it positive and keep moving forward, really.
Exactly. I mean, yes, it doesn't help we as women are very emotional, right? It doesn't help us to get super emotional about, the downs, because there's ups and downs. And so let's just hold on and it'll happen.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And part of that too, something that I like to, actually, you know what? I'm going to let you answer this next question first. And then, because this is it's related. So what is a piece of advice that you would want to share with anyone who's just starting to look into crypto?
I would say pay attention to the ups and downs, what we're talking about right now. Because like you said, you didn't know that there was, bull and bear cycles. And so just pay attention to it and just know that when it goes down, that means it's for sale. Yes. So don't worry, I know it's heartbreaking when you see your stuff go down, but just give it some time. It'll come back up.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing I was going to say is always, this is what helped me a lot, is that when I invested, I had the mentality that it could just disappear. This was money that I was willing to I was willing to risk it. I was willing to gamble. And I thought, if I'm going to gamble on anything, this feels like the one thing that I'm not a gambler. I don't enjoy going to the casino. I'm not that kind of person, but this was something that it feels like a sure bet, I think is a good way to put it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's see. I'm just going to see if there's anything. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. Next is, okay. So I'm super intrigued or interested to hear about this, because I know that you had mentioned, or I think on X, or your husband actually had mentioned this, and this is kind of a cool story. So at the Pulse 369 conference, there was a women's panel. The second day, the first panel was a women's panel. If any of y'all want to see that, go to the YouTube at PulseChain Tour Live. And it's on the second day, first panel. One of the questions was something about ways to attract people, ways to bring people into crypto. And a couple people gave their answers, and then I was like, I'm going to say something kind of controversial, because this is something that Richard Hart talks about in SciVive. And I said that if you want to utilize your looks and your pretty face, then do that. That is something that, advertising, it's, sex sells kind of idea, right? Like beauty and glamour bring people in. It attracts people. It's alluring. And I mentioned that, and then I kid you not, within 24 hours, Richard tweeted that tweet that, from what I understand, spiraled your husband into convincing you to start doing more content. And I just thought that was so cool.
I was like, honestly, I was only on X for like professional opportunities or, friendships. And so my husband told me about that. He's like, oh, so, maybe you can post something and see if we can, get more people to be aware of, Richard Hart's projects. And I was like, okay, I can help you. But that wasn't my thought to begin with. When I came on X, I was just wanting to help the community grow.
Nice. And so the question really is, what do you see yourself doing in the community? Or do you want to kind of stay on X? Do you have any ambitions to do live streaming? Are you good at TikTok? You know what I mean? Because there's so many different outlets for us to utilize.
Right.
So how do you see yourself growing as a content creator, if that's what you want to do within the community?
I believe that I can help in any way, any platform I can. Maybe it is with, live streams in the future. I could do the TikTok also. It just depends on how it's going, and I can help in any way.
Very cool. And because someone mentioned this, and also because I talked about this in a tweet concerning the other Latina. ¿Hablas español? Sí.
Sí, hablo muy bien el español.
Ah, súper bien. Entiendo más que hablo, pero aprendiendo.
Aprendiendo es muy bueno.
Gracias.
Mi esposo también está aprendiendo.
Ah, super. That's good. That's good. And so look at Latina speaks Spanish. Done. Like
I do.
I love it. And do you know about HEX and the Spanish community here?
I do not.
So yeah, there's a whole community. It's been a while since I've looked at their content, but I know that there are several of them and they do stream in Spanish. If anyone is watching that knows if that channel is still active or they're still doing stuff out there, let me know and put the link in the chat so that we can check that out and we can get her more.
Hook me up
with that team. Yeah. And I know Georgia does a lot. She and Rolando, they both they do streams together. I don't know if it's been a while since I've been able to like look at other people's content, right?
Mhm.
So I've been doing all the PulseChain stuff, and now here I
Oh
am
yeah.
working on my own stuff. But for sure, yeah, Rolando Hex, Marcelo says in the chat, look for him. So
Wonderful.
yeah, lots of Latin based Spanish speaking awesomeness in the community for sure.
Cool.
Let's see. Next question is, oh, I like this one a lot. Because this is, I mean, I'm the self-proclaimed positivity princess, so I always like to bring that to the forefront and have people share, you know, whatever positivity they can when they can. So question 4 is, please share a quote, mantra, saying, or a song that uplifts you. Just something that, you know, if you're ever feeling down or you just need that extra little oomph of, you know, happiness in your day, what is something that is uplifting to you?
I would have to say today I choose peace over worry.
Hmm.
That always makes me feel, you know what? Take it easy. Do some yoga, get some sun. And peace is better than worry.
Yeah, absolutely. So simple. That's the thing, is that the things that can keep us positive and change our mental state can be so simple. Simple as that's
I
one
know.
sentence, you know?
But sometimes we forget because we get caught up in life and business and kids and all of the above, and sometimes we forget. But
Mhm.
just take it easy, meditate, relax,
Breathe.
breathe, get some sun. You'll be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of us forget to breathe, or we're not cognizant, and
Yeah.
myself included. It's something that I have to work on, but just to remind yourself to take some deep breaths every now and then and just
Yep.
be present in the moment. Beautiful.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Okay. Number 5. What is something that you really love to do outside of the crypto space? What is, you know, just some hobby or something that you really, really just love and enjoy?
I love dancing. I love being outdoors, so hiking. I like camping. And I like working out. I did not like it maybe about 4 years ago, but now I have to work out daily in order for me to have, I guess, maybe it's energy or motivation to continue. It's weird because before I didn't like it. I was like, I hate the feeling of the pain. I don't like it. I don't want to go. But now I really enjoy it.
Awesome. I'm right there with you. I used to just despise going to the gym. If I was going to work out, usually I would go for a walk or go for a hike or something chill. Well, yoga is, you know, I think yoga counts, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I wasn't lifting weights, you know, wasn't, you know, doing stretches and just being more like aware of my body. And that's definitely also changed for me in the last couple years. I really, in fact, I have a trainer, but it's like a virtual trainer, but he sends me, you know, we chat every now and then. He sends me like specific workouts to do. And
Okay.
for the first time in my life, I had this moment of like, I looked at my body and was really stoked about it, you know, like,
Yeah.
and not that, I don't know, it's hard to to put that into words, right? Because it's like I've
Mhm.
never had a bad self-image, you know, like I've been
Right.
very blessed with that, blessed with my positivity and just feeling comfortable in my own skin for most of my life, right? No matter
Mhm.
what. And I've been over 200 pounds at one point, you know, 10 years ago.
Me
So
too.
yeah, so I've gone back and forth with it, and
Yeah.
now here I am, and I'm like, there was a point in my life where I not only was I losing weight for someone else, but I did it in a way that wasn't very healthy. And
Mhm.
you know, I was running a lot, and my shape just, I was just, everything was flat, you
Mhm.
know. And
Mhm.
having a trainer and really working on those aspects and those things that I just, you know, I just want this to look good and this to look good. And
Mhm.
I'm telling, it's night and day. you know,
Oh
like
yeah.
I've lost the weight and I've gained the muscle, and now I can tell when I'm not going to the gym and the those parts that I want to look better aren't looking as good. I'm like,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
back into it. I need to work my
100%.
muscles. Yeah. And this,
Yep.
especially getting older, right? Like as we age,
Yes.
we lose the muscle mass, and it's harder to build that up and to
Right.
keep that going.
Yep.
So that's something that I just remember. And when I was I'm trying. I've often not spoken my age, but I don't care anymore. So a little while ago, I had mentally. First of all, I have it. My Tia is inspiration to me, and I remember about 20 years ago, she told me, your life doesn't start until you're 40. And I've always had that in my mind. And mentally, I've always thought, man, like, like I'm excited for my 40s. I'm stoked for that. And the year before I turned 40, I thought, I want to be fit by 40, not just, not thin or not. I want to be fit.
Yep.
And I feel like I've got that goal going.
That's
And I want
amazing.
to continue that. I'm going to be fabulous at 50. Like,
Yes.
like,
Yes. And at 60. And
exactly.
moving
Sexy at
forward.
60.
Yes.
Liberation, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, and that's so important also to just keep in mind that our health, and this is why Sci-Vibe is such a big deal for me, and I promote Richard Hart's book so much, is that even though people think he doesn't pay, he doesn't take his own advice, which he's admitted to as well. He's like, I don't do as I say, not as I do, kind of stuff.
Right.
But
Right.
how would we be able to enjoy those riches that are to come and this generational wealth if we're not well ourselves?
Correct.
And
we won't be able to.
Exactly. And one thing that really I try to talk about and really hit home for me is that you only become more of what you are when you have more money, for the most part, right? Like the money's not going to change who you are at your core.
Right.
So work on that now. Make that the person that you want to see in the future. Make that who you are becoming at this present moment.
Right.
So that when you do, come into this wealth, you're mentally, physically, spiritually well and able to handle that.
Exactly.
Maddie Allen calls it the sudden wealth syndrome, because people don't know what to do or how to handle. There's a ton of stories about people losing their minds and family and connections because they won the lotto, right? All of a sudden they got all this money and people come after them, and it's a whole thing. So work on being your best self now so that you can be an even better version of your best self as you move into what we're hoping this bull run. I got my green candle right here.
Right. That's on point. On point.
Yeah. Let's see.
I love it.
Very cool. Well, I don't know. This felt like it went too quick. I mean, we don't have to end it right now, but the last question is, where can we find you? What social medias do you have? Do you have it other than X? Do you have any other channels? And I did already put your X handle in the description below. So if you want to find Latina Liberty on X, you can find her handle right below. In fact, it's her name right there, but there's an underscore in between.
Yes. For now, I'm just on X.
Okay.
However, I'm not opposed to opening other platforms in the future.
Awesome. Very cool. I commend you, and I what's the word? I encourage you to do so if you feel like you have the ability or the time, right, to put into things like that. I'm trying to grow my Instagram a little more. I don't talk about crypto, or I don't tout myself as someone that like it's not the first thing I talk about, right? Whereas here it is. But it's always something that I mention, kind of thing, right?
Okay.
I
Yeah.
feel comfortable because that's a lot of like my bus. I live in a bus, so my bus life, my garden out in the backyard of my mom's place. Those are the things that I bring up there, and I'm like, oh, by the way, like I was traveling and teaching people about PulseChain. Might want to check that out sometime. Right?
I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, any place you end up, let us know, and we'll promote it. We'll get the word out, and
Thank you.
yeah, just keep that momentum going.
Momentum going. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Um, well, I feel like we've got some more to like a little, at least 5-10 more minutes if you want to chit chat. Is there anything that you want to talk about or want to mention about your experience? I don't know if you even want to talk about all that jazz that happened when you got here, or
No, that's okay. I
water
kind
under
of,
the bridge.
I understand, you know, for what they went through, but yeah, I just want to leave it in the past.
Yeah, best to do that.
Yes, it's better to be positive.
And yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to share about yourself or your, I don't know, family? Some people like keeping that all, under wraps, and some people are like me. I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna be here this day. Let's hang out.
I don't know yet. I'm still now. I have PTSD with everything that.
For sure.
I was like, oh my gosh, I was just trying to help.
Yeah.
For now, I think I'm going to just be on X and leave it at that. And then maybe in the future, I'll say, hey, I'll be at the next, crypto event. I'll see you guys there. Just like, what you're doing.
I hope so. I'm actually hoping to just run and this is something that I've encouraged people as well. Wherever you are locally, if you have the what's the word I'm looking for? Have any urge or inkling to do so, create a meetup. It doesn't have to be just these excuse me. It doesn't just have to be a big conference, right? Or some kind of constructed event in a building. Like you can just say, hey, like I want to meet up with other Hexicans or PulseChainians in my area. I'm going to be at this bar on this date at this time. There's some great resources for that. In fact, I need to remember to put that in the description as well. Will Stevenson, shout out to you, Will. He has created something called HEX Meetups. It's a Telegram channel, and it's got all sorts of different subcategories for different states. And then even within states like California, I think there's a Southern California and a Northern California category. But that's where you can go, or just post it on X. If you're that kind of person, then you're, open to saying, obviously you don't have to tell people exactly what city you live in or whatever. Like I can be like, hey, like I'm going out to Orange County, and if you guys want to, hey, like meet up at this barcade and hang out, let's go do that. So that's actually something that I want to do more of as I'm here in Cali, and I know that there's a whole slew of Hexicans from north to south all over the place. So I think that really helps us just kind of, it's the beautiful thing after traveling for the last couple of years with the PulseChain tour is that it's really lovely to hear the feedback of people who don't otherwise have someone to talk to in their life about crypto, and how much it means to them to just have a half hour and a couple hours, whatever, just hanging out with people who get it and who understand what they're saying and aren't going to judge them or be like, oh, how's that crypto thing going? Or be sarcastic about it. Because a lot of people don't understand, and they don't get it, and they don't have the passion and the drive that we've had. So yeah, so definitely something that I'm going to look forward to. Again, I'm trying not to read the chat too much, y'all, but I just saw Francia says, I want to be in the podcast one day, invite me. Oh, I got you. Hey, Francia, I think you have the same handle on X. Reach out to me on X. All my DMs are open everywhere. I'm on Instagram. I think you might be on Instagram too, but I'm on Instagram and I'm X. Just reach out via DM. I do have, like I said at the beginning, I do have a long list of women that I'm trying to get on here to do this. I'm so stoked to be doing this again and to be just having the time and the energy to get back to kind of what I feel like is me and what I like to have promoted in this space. So thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and chit chat.
Absolutely.
And show your face to the world. I mean, that's a thing too, right? A lot of people remain anonymous. And there are a lot of women that may not support their husbands, or may not want to know about crypto, or may not want to be forward facing for whatever reason, you know, and for you to step up and to say, hey, no, I want to be here. I want to help however I can, whatever I can do. Let me start doing that. So kudos to you. And thank you so much. Yeah. For being someone that's front facing and forward facing, especially as a woman, because it's hard. It's
Yeah,
it is shark infested waters of crypto.
But thank you for having me on your show, and it was very fun.
Yeah, awesome. I'm gonna pull you down, chat for a second, and end it real quick here. But thank you again and again. Actually, I'm gonna put your handle in the chat before you go. Let me find you on the X.
And you're not the only one that touches your hair a lot. I do too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you see me like.
Because you're like looking at your, like, I mean, I try not to look at yourself, but you can't help but look at yourself. And I'm just like,
I know. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Or I feel it tickling my face, and I'm like, stop.
Oh, I wanted to show off real quick. These, a friend of mine made these, Hexacaso.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. Check him out on X as well if you want a pair. You can get some there. But so yeah, yes. Latina Liberty's X is in the chat. It is in the show description. Thank you again, ma'am. It was good chatting with you. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Oh, you guys. How cool is that? I love this. I love everything. And PulseChain loves you. So it's good to be back. Really excited about the future. And I have so many different women that I want to bring on this show that I think I'm going to be busy for the next year. Because there are more women definitely in the PulseChain community than, I mean, I came into crypto through HEX. So I don't have experience with other crypto communities, but from what I understand, we definitely have that ratio on lock in terms of women to men. If you didn't get to see it, there's been some pictures of the Pulse 369 conference where after the women's panel, I invited all the women up on stage. I was like, hey, ladies, come on, let's go. Let's take a group picture. And that was probably like, I'm trying to think of a good ratio, like 4/5 of the women that were there. There were definitely at least 7 to 10 women that had not been up on that stage. So check that picture out and just imagine, you know, a good handful more being there. Thank you for everyone that showed up in the chat. Thank you so much. Anyone watching this on Discourse Syndicate, please come on over. Come on down. I got my own YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@awildsj, like my handle is everywhere. And yeah, not much else to say, folks. Just keep smiling. Know that you're not alone, and know that we're in this together, and know that Richard Hart is in this for the glory, y'all. There is going to be a day that he is going to be in the sun. It's going to be shining. There's going to be gold beams of pew, 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 lasers everywhere. I know it in my heart, and totally pun intended, because if you haven't yet, please read Sci-Vive. I read it for you. like Richard says in the cute little audio thing I just made, right? And Hexo also just did a great AI version of that. I think he's in the middle of still working on that. So check that out. Listen however you like. It's on Spotify. It's also on YouTube. And hopefully someday it'll get on Audible. That's something that I think is still in the works. So we'll see what happens. But that is how you get to know who Richard Hart is. Go back and look at his first few videos, right? And learn who, you know, behind all the... That's why I did it, because I wanted to know who he was. I saw him doing all these unboxing videos and shaking his butt and, you know, doing all this stuff. And I was like, who is this dude? Like, why do we want to invest in something that this guy made? And I was pleasantly surprised. I'll put it that way. The more I dug and the more I learned about who he is and what he wants for the future and what he wants for us, the more I was convinced that this is absolutely where I want to be and what I want to promote with my image. I had mentioned before that was something that I talked about, because he says in SciVibe, if you have an attractive look, go for it. I haven't always thought that about myself my entire life, but I ended up doing acting at one point. And there got to be a point where I thought, I don't want my image to be associated with things that I don't want to promote. So I turned down some commercials. And when I came into this community and I started to really understand what Hexaco is, what Hexaco means to me, and what Richard Hart wants for the world, it was a no-brainer. I was like, you know what? If this attracts anyone into this ecosystem, cool, so be it. I would rather do that than put my face on some product that I have no use for, or know nothing about, or don't want to promote. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play this cute little intro outro one more time, and I'll see you on the next one. Welcome to PulseChain. We love you.
What I care about is you guys doing well, which is why I spend so much time thinking about how to make your lives better. So if you haven't already done it, download the free self-help books that I made, Fix the World and SciVive. They're at t.me/SciVive. There's a very nice lady named A Wild SJ who's actually read the audiobook on YouTube, and you could just listen to her read the whole book to you. How awesome is that? Her and some other people also did a rendition of the oral arguments at the motion to dismiss trial with the SEC. I think it's cool that we've got a community member that cares so much that out of the kindness of her heart, she's reading things to you. That's very nice. Some people have drives. They don't have the time to read. They've got hard lives that they have to work. One, shout out to A Wild SJ. Thanks for reading all those cool things.